Hi everyone, and welcome to week 2 of the Online Marketing 101 course. This is our second Hangout on Air, so thanks for joining. I'm Coco, I'm an AdWords specialist here at Google, and I have with me once again Avinash, who's a digital marketing evangelist and just a whiz on all things web analytics, digital marketing. He's going to share all of his knowledge with us today. So, as you probably know from this week's curriculum, it was all about defining your advertising goals. So there's so many different targeting options, different campaign types with AdWords. So you really need to sort of, before you jump into it, take a step back, figure out what you want to accomplish, and then figure out how you can reach and attain those goals. So we'll be talking a little bit about that today. So in terms of the format of the Hangout on Air, we have collected questions from the community that you guys have posted. So I have some of those here. Avinash will be discussing those. And then if you have questions as we go along, live questions, post those in the community. We have TAs there on standby, and they will send those to me so that if we have time, we can answer the live questions as well. So let's just jump right into it. Thanks for joining, Avinash.
Absolutely.
How are you doing today?
Good, thanks.
Good. So we have some really, really good questions. The first one that I want to start with is from Anu. He asked, for a certain keyword, my business shows as the first organic result, but I also bid for this keyword in AdWords, and my ad often shows too above the organic listing. Should I stop bidding for this keyword? And if I do, will that hurt my organic performance?
Yeah, I was probably a girl.
Okay, sorry.
I want to be very clear about one very important thing that you all should be aware of. Your participation in AdWords has nothing to do with your organic results. I cannot say that emphatically enough. At Google, we have a firewall between our advertising products team and our SEO team. They're completely separate. They don't talk to each other. They don't hate each other. They just don't talk to each other. So whether you buy AdWords ads or not, it has zero impact on your organic search results. It's very important for you to understand. So let's go back to the question Anu asked. We have a wonderful feature in AdWords called AdWords Conversion Experiments. And what AdWords Conversion Experiments allows you to do is create a hypothesis. What would happen to the number of clicks that I'm getting or the number of conversions that I'm getting to my website if I show an AdWords ad for a particular keyword or a cluster of keywords, or I don't? And my recommendation to you is to use that feature in AdWords to test if removing the AdWords ads has an impact if you're ranked #1. At Google, we have done this hundreds and hundreds of times, as you can imagine, for companies small and big. And what we find consistently that having an AdWords ad show up in addition to your organic ad drives incremental traffic to your website. Sometimes it's because if your ad doesn't show up, somebody else's will. Sometimes it's because people look at the AdWords ads and just click on that and not on the organic results. There could be a whole bunch of reasons. So we notice that there is an incremental effect from the AdWords ads. Also because you have the ability to control the experience on the landing page, you also typically end up having higher conversions if you're very careful about that. So we notice an incremental effect, but I wanted to clarify that you have a capacity to test for yourself and prove for yourself that the incremental effect exists for you. So that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, definitely. There's always a way to track everything. So
exactly.
You definitely test it for your business. So Marilyn asked, our next question, does AdWords work when users search for products and services on their mobile devices?
Absolutely, absolutely, positively. And for all search engines, right? All search engines are working really hard to create wonderful ads on the mobile platform. One of the cool differences between AdWords on desktop and AdWords on mobile is that you can create mobile-specific ads. So as an example, we're working with a pizza company. And so when people search for pizza on their mobile phones, actually we show a promotional coupon in the AdWords ads because we noticed that if you're searching on your mobile phone, you're probably super hungry right now. And then we can entice you to come into the store and get a pizza. And on the desktop, we could show coupon. We could definitely show coupon. But, we may not choose to because we don't have your intent really well. Or another thing you can do with AdWords is you can use a map extension. So if you have a store close by, you can have AdWords trigger not only your text ad, but also show that the closest store to you, to the searching person, is 1 mile away. So they're like, oh, it's 1 mile away. I'll just go over there right now. So you can have ads in both places. But the cool part with mobile is that you can have really, really amazing ads that are targeted to the context that we can get from the phone, because we know where the person is, we know some of their intent, so we can use those signals to create even better AdWords ads on the mobile platform.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to know that mobile can also play an impact in the entire purchase cycle. So I was reading a study that our retail team put out a couple weeks ago that was talking about the back-to-school season, which is upon us, and that users are starting to do a little bit of research now, and they're searching now, and they're probably doing that across all different kinds of devices. And then a couple weeks from now, when those school supply lists come out, they'll probably complete their purchase cycle, and they may complete the purchase on a desktop device, but they may have done their research in their car in an airport while they were on their mobile. So I think it's also important to note that mobile can, even though it may not get the credit for that final conversion, it can still play a big impact.
Exactly.
Perfect. So our next question is from Santos.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, what's the best way to compare data month over month? Should I create a new campaign each month and pause the old one? Or is there a more effective way to analyze performance over time?
Sure. Don't create new campaigns.
I was hoping you'd say that. Okay.
We don't want your life to be any harder than it already is. You have better things to do. So it depends on if you're using the reports that are already in AdWords, fantastic reports, or you're using Google Analytics. So one thing you can do in both AdWords reports and Google Analytics reports is that you can actually look at the very long durations. Just at my desk, as I was walking this morning over here, I was looking at the performance of one particular company over 26 months because I wanted to see how they are doing for a particular cluster of keywords over a very long period of time. And what you do is on the top right, there is a date range selector. You click on that, and you can stretch the time as much as you want, and you can look at performance. So that's very easy. And of course, when you look at the performance, you don't have to look at it in aggregate. You can say, I only want to look at the performance for this ad group or this keyword or blah, blah, blah. You can do that. If you're in Google Analytics, things can get even sexier. Because what you can do is you can create something called an advanced segment. So you can say, I will take an advanced segment of everybody who searched for Sony digital camera DSC HX1, which is my camera. Right? That's the one I use. I love the Sony camera. And so you can create that a segment for that. And then you can actually apply that segment to any report you want and easily see, oh, when people come on this keyword that I'm buying, what pages do they see on my website? How many of them add a product to my cart and abandon it? Oh, what was the difference between May and June for that number? What is the conversion, etc.? So you can go a little more deeper, but you can easily do very long time period comparisons either in AdWords or Google Analytics. Inside Google Analytics, you can dive even deeper and get a better understanding of your performance of your AdWords campaigns.
Yeah, definitely. That compared to past functionality in AdWords is pretty new. It's been there for a few months, but it's so helpful.
Very
nice.
So
definitely take advantage of that. So we're going to jump back to another question from Manu.
Yes.
Hopefully that's a girl. Sorry about that again. So the question is, I'm trying to promote a video on a specific endangered species. And for my targeting, I don't want to be as broad as targeting animals, but I want to get my video out there. So how do I strike the balance with targeting in order to show it to a relevant audience?
Yes. So this is a very good question. And I believe this week they were learning both about the display network and AdWords search.
We did include some of the resources, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason I say that is because you have a couple of different wonderful options. One of my favorite ways to do this is to actually start by targeting specific keywords. So a couple of weeks ago, we were in the French Polynesia, and for the first time, I bumped into an octopus. I scared the bejesus out of me.
Just bumped in.
Yeah, it was there. It was so invisible, I didn't even see it. Anyway, so let's say that octopus is the endangered species you're trying to protect.
Yeah.
So in AdWords, actually, it's really easy to say, I would like to have my AdWords ads be triggered for endangered octopus, right? And so we'll only actually show your ad to people who are looking for that particular endangered octopus. So that way you have a 100% match between what you want to advertise and what the people are searching on. So that's a really good way to start. But then you don't know maybe what are the other keywords that you want to track. So we have a very good tool called Google Trends. It's at www.google.com/trends. Very simple URL. So yesterday, when I got the email from Coco, I went to Google Trends and I typed in endangered species as well as endangered octopus, just for the heck of it. And what Google Trends does, really cool, is actually showed me a whole list of keywords that people were searching for endangered species. And I found different keywords from Poland than America.
Yeah.
Actually, it turns out in America, Wisconsin, the state of Wisconsin has a lot of searches for endangered species. Now, I wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't know that. So now I can tell AdWords, hey, I want you to target Wisconsin a lot more.
Yeah.
I don't know why people are searching for endangered species, but they are. So you can actually get a list of keywords at the bottom right of the report for the word endangered species, so you have every variation of it. But then you can also get data about where in the world, which cities or which countries or which states are people actually searching for endangered species. So that's like Google Trends is a great way to get going, both in the keywords as well as geographic targeting. And the reason I asked Coco about the display network is because the display network allows you a little more awesomeness, because you can just pick a cluster of keywords. And what Google does is it looks for pages and articles where people are writing, discussing endangered species, and they get an additional layer of exposure for you, because we're not only matching the keywords and showing your text, video, or display ads, but in addition, we're actually showing them on websites that are about endangered species, where people are talking about endangered species. So you get a high overlap between what you're trying to do and who the audience is. So those are just a couple different ways that you can get going using Google Trends that gives you very specific data to get going about what people really search for, as well as the Google Display Network that has even more options for you to target your ads and bring an audience to your website.
Yeah, for a new, I just think the display network would probably be perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Because if endangered species, if that's a passion of mine, I'm probably not necessarily searching for that keyword, but I'm probably browsing websites and might be, speaking to it, so your ad could show on those sites.
Exactly.
So I think that's perfect. So similar to that question, Renee also has a very specialized business, and Renee was wondering about selecting keywords, and you sort of talked about that a little bit when you were talking about trends, but just in terms of selecting keywords and negative keywords, can you maybe give Renee some advice about how to get started, sort of, if you're starting from scratch with a brand new campaign, what should be your first few steps?
Yeah, so Google Trends, of course, is a great resource I've already mentioned, but for a more specialized view of things, I love the Google AdWords tool. The AdWords keyword tool. It just is really amazing because there are a couple different options for a new business. So as I mentioned last week, one of the things I do, I have a startup called Market Motive, and Market Motive offers certification courses. So I just go into the Google AdWords tool as a small business owner, and I can actually type in a web analytics certification course or paid search certification course, and I hit submit. And the AdWords keyword tool gives me a whole list of keywords. Not only does it give me the list of keywords, it actually tells me the volume for each of those keywords. And it tells me today, do I get a good organic click rate and a good paid click rate if I'm doing anything. So my paid was all 0. And I was like, damn it, I need to spend money on AdWords. But the organic keyword click rate was telling me that, impression rate was telling me that when people were searching for web analytics certification, my website was only showing up 0.5% of the time. I was like, oh my God, I'm a loser. I was like, oh, so I got a specific number.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep working harder and harder on my organic stuff. But in addition, now I know I need to have very good targeted AdWords ads there. So use that feature. A second feature I like even more, let's say you know nothing. Like you don't even know what a keyword is. Because it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
One of the great features of the AdWords keyword tool is you just type your URL. You say, let's say you're cocorocks.com, right?
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Coco actually sells rocks, right? And so what you can do is you can say, oh, I'm in the AdWords keyword tool. I'm going to type in the URL www.cocorocks.com and just hit submit. And Google magically will actually tell you all the keywords that are relevant to your website, because we crawl all the websites. Yeah. We understand what content you have. We know what you're talking about. We know what products you sell. So we will try and create that for you, and we will give you a list. And again, we'll give you the data about the number of impressions, how competitive they are, what the bid prices might be, how much share you have, all this stuff. So 2 different ways. One, type in one keyword and get the related lists. Or just type in your URL, hit submit, and we will give you a list of keywords that you can then send into your campaigns.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, the keyword planner that you were talking about just has tremendous amounts of information when you're getting started, but also if you've been running your campaign for a little while, there's a report called the Search Query Report.
Yes.
And it will actually show you what search terms users have been using that matches to your keywords. So once you've been going for a little while, take a look at that report, see if there are certain words on there that you want to add or any on there that you're not finding as relevant and you want to add as negative keywords. So that would be like my next step after you've got everything set up.
Exactly. And the cool thing is, this is the reason that one way or the other, you must have some analytics tool on your site. So you can use the AdWords conversion tracker. You could use Google Analytics. It's totally up to you. But as Coco said, once you start bidding on these terms and your ads start showing up, either one of these tools will show you the bounce rate, it will show you the conversion rate, it will show you the page depth, it will show you the loyalty. And you can use these metrics to figure out, oh, here is a cluster of keywords that are actually not performing for me, and I'm going to avail of the negative keyword option to make sure that my ads don't show up for those keywords. So we at Google want you to be really smart about this and use data. So we have 2 different paid tools, 2 different free analytics tools,
FREE.
Exactly. That you can use, again, to figure out which ones you want to amplify. So maybe you want to bid even a little bit more so you can get more clicks because they're converting better or have low bounce rates.
Right.
Or which ones you want to add to your negative list because they don't perform. Because at the end of the day, we only care about your profitability.
Yeah, perfect. Well, that actually segues really nicely into our final question. So a lot of the businesses that are within our community are, trying to generate sales or generate leads on their site. So you mentioned conversion tracking and Google Analytics. I know you could probably talk about it all day and all week. Just, give us a little monologue on it. But just briefly, can you sort of explain why I would choose one over the other, sort of what the benefits are there, and the different functionality?
Yeah. So think of the AdWords conversion tracking as your tricycle, right? And you're a little baby and you're just getting going, and the tricycle is simple. It has a lot of stability built into it. You're probably not going to fall over, and it's a great way to learn to ride a bike.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I see conversion tracking. It's really cool. It's a really great way to go. It's very simple. When it comes to Google Analytics, think of it as a proper road bike, right? I mean, you can take it anywhere. You can go over hills and mountains and all kinds of things. You can even paddle through a river, right? It's a little more complicated, and it can do a lot of things. So one of the things I can do with my Google Analytics tracking is I can compare the performance of my AdWords account along with the performance of my SEO keywords right next to each other. Actually, you can't do this with the AdWords conversion tracker because it's very focused, right? It's very focused. It tells you how AdWords is doing. Or I can compare the performance of my AdWords campaigns with my Bing campaigns. Or I can compare my AdWords campaigns with my email campaigns. So Google Analytics allows you more in-depth. I think that if you have a little bit of savvy, just a little bit, I do think that you can just go directly with Google Analytics and use the overview report in each section. That's it. Don't go too deep into it. Just look at the overview report. It's a nice summary. You can get it about your visitors, your content, your traffic sources, and conversions. So 4 overview reports that tell you everything, right?
Right.
But if you feel that you're not ready yet to get on a bike, that's okay. That really is okay. In that case, I would start with AdWords conversion tracking and then graduate to Google Analytics.
Yeah, perfect. And the great thing also about analytics is that if you're tracking, if you have goals set up or you're tracking e-commerce, you can actually import those into AdWords. You can see it alongside with like your budget, your bids, so you can make the decisions right then and there.
Exactly. Actually, I don't know if we had exposed this to people already, but along with bidding for clicks and impressions, etc., one of the things that I have used when I was starting with AdWords is that I would just tell AdWords, why don't you, AdWords, optimize my campaigns, right? Why don't you figure out how to do all this black magic rather than me having to learn because I'm a really new, innocent person, right? But I would tell AdWords that using the conversion tracking, initially, I could use GA, of course, but using conversion, I would say, this is my goal. I want people to buy my cupcakes, and I want people to buy my cupcakes, and I'm not willing to pay more than $6 for somebody to actually buy a cupcake from me. It seems very expensive, but my cupcake's $100 a pop. That's a big cupcake. So actually, I set a goal, as Coco said, and I would put it into AdWords Conversion Tracker. I would tell AdWords, you figure everything out. And then the amazing thing is AdWords will take that into account. It will collect all your data and make sure that it is sending you a lot of conversions and that those conversions are $6 or less, no more, right? And that's a really great way to change the paradigm where you're not paying for the click and figuring out the conversion bits.
Exactly.
But you have a goal. In addition to Cupcake, I could say, I also want people to submit an email address and sign up for my email mailing list so that I can reach out to them all the time. And I'm willing to pay $1 for it, as an example.
Yeah.
And then you just tell AdWords that and say, hey, this is my goal, email. I would like to get email addresses no more than $1. And so now AdWords will automatically do the targeting, it will change things, and etc. So I don't have to worry that I'm going to overspend. And yet I am paying Google only for performance, right? So that's just an interesting option that is available to you. But you have to use AdWords Conversion Tracker or have Google Analytics because Google needs to know what is the goal that you value.
Exactly. So hopefully you sort of set that up in week 2 in the worksheet that we had. And then next week's course will focus more on how you can start with your first campaign, how you can set it up and implement it and be ready to go. So thanks so much for joining us for this next week. We'll be back next week, guys, for our final Hangout on Air with Avinash. So be sure and post any questions on the community this week. If you have any burning questions you want to ask Avinash, now's your time. And stay tuned for the week 3 curriculum that will come out next week. It should be really great, really exciting stuff. So get involved in the community, get involved with your TAs and the other users. Bounce ideas off of each other, ask questions there. That's what it's there for. So we hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your week.